Hi, my name's Peter again. Thank you for listening to my video. I just want to talk about something which a lot of people talk to me about, a lot of clients over the last few years, which I do find really interesting, really fascinating. And this is about energy of homes. How many of you have actually found that you've got a home that won't sell? You're desperately trying to move on. You've decorated it, you make it look really nice. You've simplified everything. You've done everything by the book. People come, seem interested, and then there's no offers come in, or an offer's put in and it's taken away, it seems to fall through, and then you don't see anyone for a long time. You change estate agents, they say, I don't know why it hasn't been sold, and you think, well, nor do we just want to go, we can't do anything till it's sold, or we've had an offer or something. And it made me begin to wonder, what energies are left in that home? For most of you understand and are open to the idea of emotions and feelings, are sensitive to people, to places. I mean, for instance, how many times have you gone somewhere to a home or a building and actually felt uncomfortable? How many times have you been to a home that looked perfect, looked beautiful, and yet it felt absolutely dead? How many times have you been and met someone who you really didn't feel comfortable with, but they look presentable? So does it mean then, is it possible that your home that you may have lived in for a long time holds many memories? How does the walls, the feeling of that home, the roof, the furniture, the carpet, what memories does it hold? And if you've been there for many years and you've had good times and hard times and healing times, and you've come to that point where you've just outlived the home and it's time to downsize or to move on, the children have left home because they've grown up, and how does that home feel? How does each room feel? Let me tell you something. Some years ago, there was an old friend of mine who was a healer. She was a sensitive lady, and she lived in a beautiful ground floor flat in Devon. It was a place that you would have thought would have sold within days. It was a sought after area. Everything was immaculate. And she said to me, I've had this on the market for 2 years. I just can't sell it. She'd lived there for 22 years. So I went round to her flat and it was beautiful. It was immaculate. I walked round inside and I thought, I can't see why anyone wants it, so therefore there has to be a reason that this is not selling. So I said to her, I want you to come with me. I want you to be able to take your energy into a really calm, peaceful place. I want you to relax every cell of your body and allow yourself to become peaceful. Just put all old emotions to one side and just be calm and reflective. And let's start at the beginning of the front door and walk through the hallway and into each room. And as we got to the door of each room, we'd stop and say, now just tell me as you walk into this room how your body feels. Does it stop being peaceful and relaxed? And does it feel tense or anxious or sad? How does it feel? And as we got to one of the bedrooms and stood in the doorway, she then burst into tears. And I said, so why this bedroom and where's these tears coming from? And she said, well, I don't know. All I know is that this bedroom is where we did the most healing, myself and my son. That when he was young and he was a baby and I came back from hospital, my husband was very abusive and he was abusive throughout our life. And we spent many hours and days and evenings, my son and myself in here, just crying together. And now the son had left home and gone on his own way in life. And now it's her turn to go. There was this sadness, a profound sadness left in this room. The room was almost saying, so what about me? You're all going, what is my purpose now? Who do I look after? I've looked after you for 22 years, now you're leaving me. So I asked her to tell the room and the energy within the room, whatever that was, to explain to that room that it was time to move on, for all of us to move on, and that the people who had come to that home would love that room. And it could also begin to create a safe place for the new people who may need comforting and a place of rest. And she kept doing that using the healing techniques that she was familiar with and just talking as if she would do to a client or to a good friend until it became peaceful. And we did that in one other room as well until we could walk around that flat and it felt calm and peaceful all the way around. She then got hold of me 2 weeks later, and 2 weeks later she said to me, I've got good news. Within that first week, I had 2 couples who came round after having no one for 18 months, and both of them offered me a cash for the full price of the flat. And within a few months, it was sold and gone. Now, I thought that was extraordinary. It made me open my eyes and realise that if I was going to look at a home with a view to buying it, I would probably be in a more sensitive state. I'd be thinking, how does this home make me feel? And then I think when I would be there, I would be still feeling that if there's anything within that home that was unseen to the conscious eyes, but was felt on an unconscious level, that was giving me sad feelings, or feelings of, who are you? And what are you going to do with me? And I don't want you to be here. I would feel that. So on paper, it may look great. But to get in there, my feelings would say, actually, I don't want to be here. So I would change my mind and go and look at another property. So I would suggest that for those of you who may find that you're wondering about why a house won't sell, then maybe you need to just go around to each room and just talk to each room. Feel what you feel at a level of sensitivity as if you were a buyer coming to look at that house for the first time, and notice whatever emotions come up, and without questioning them, just address it and just let go of all negative emotions within that space. And I think you'll be surprised what a difference that will make. In fact, there was one other friend of mine who I went to her home. It was a home which had been a family home for many years, and they had moved away from it and built a house in the garden. And this big house had just been stood empty for a couple of years. And she'd done a lot of work in it, a lot of clearing, changed a lot of energies. And again, I was asked to go around and just see if I could use my sensitivity to walk around that home, walk around the garden and see what was going on. Well, the first thing I felt when I stood in the driveway and I got myself into a state of mind where, as if I was the buyer, a potential buyer, I walked up the driveway towards the front door, and as I got to the front door, I could very strongly feel a presence push me back. And I tried again, I walked again, and again this presence pushed me away from the front door. This is before I even got into the house. So I then stopped and I asked this presence to come forward. I wanted to speak with it. And she told me she was a lady who had lived there many generations before. She was very angry at the way that everything had changed. She couldn't understand why there were suddenly telegraph poles arrived. Where did these poles come from? Why is there now houses in what were fields? She was angry that the home that she had loved and brought up her family in was kind of like being lost. And there was all these people coming in, knocking walls down, changing the colours, putting up new fences and sheds. And she didn't understand. And so she was very angry and upset and determined that no one else was going to cause any more disruptions. So I had to talk to her and let her know that life had moved on in that time. She had actually was not in this year of 2014 or 2013, whatever year it was, but this was a home which had new energies in, and new people going to love this home just like she did and bring life back into it, bring children into it. And once she started to understand this, then she became much happier. And she was then accepted that other people would be good to come into this home rather than being an empty home. It could be a house that could be lived in and hear laughter once again. And from there I went round from room to room. And again, in some of the rooms there were energies which were memories of things that had happened before. One room had the memory of someone who had died there. So again, it wasn't the spirit of the person, it was just a memory of sadness and illness. So we had to clear that. If not, as the potential viewer, I would go into a room and just feel quite ill or quite sick. And it would make me think I wouldn't want to be there. So we cleared all of that, and within a few months, that house completely sold to a cash buyer, to a man and wife who wanted to come and live near their family who lived down the road. How amazing was that? So what I'd say to you, if you can't sell your home, it's not always a case of changing the estate agent, but instead change the energy. Good luck. Thank you for listening.